Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we are going to be talking all about our first impressions of the Festival of the Damned, and if you're wondering why I'm saying we, that's because I have none other than Super PAC CJ Chris Johnston from Player One Podcast joining me this week to discuss all the things Festival of Giving and more. So let's get into it. Ahoy there, pirates. Before we get started, I have to take care of the Patreon callouts because they take care of me, and that's important to me, and it means a lot. So I wanted to thank, of course, Chateau Neuf, Lumpy SRQ, who's new to the Patreon, Regis Stella, El Jefe Esteban, Big Bad Pad, Cosmic Johnson, CJ Super PAC from the Player One Podcast, Davram TV from the Pirate Talk Radio, as well as Greg from Greg. So thank you, all of you. If you guys have any questions, concerns about the podcast, feel free to head over to the Sea of Thieves podcast. Or the Patreon. If you guys want to get there, you can go to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to support me. You get call outs, you get channels, you get ad-free episodes. So if you don't enjoy the ad break in the middle of the episode, I apologize. It's a way for me to get news to you as far as like getting ads out there and whatnot. But if you're listening to this in your Patreon, you have no clue what those ads are. So I don't know. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Otherwise, thank you, pirates. I love you, and let's get on with the show. I don't know anymore. I give up. I give up trying to understand technology. CJ, how you doing?
Yeah.
How's everything going?
I am doing great.
That's good.
How are you?
Logan. I'm doing great. It's the Festival of Giving, and
it is.
There's a lot to go over, but first and foremost, like you've been playing this update since it came out for the most part. Mm-hmm. I have not. I mentioned this last episode. I was very honest with everyone. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I knew I was going to have to dump a lot of time into Cyberpunk for the other podcasts that I do. And because I figured, this is going to be first impressions. I don't want to get spoiled if we talk about something, but I also want to make sure that I know what the hell I'm talking about. And if anyone has been following the games industry at all, there's been a little contention out there in the whole world about what Cyberpunk was expected to be versus what it ended up being, and if people are happy with that. But I've got about 20 hours into Cyberpunk, and boy, I'm ready to put the controller down and kind of relax and not have my brain think about anything for a little bit. But
it is funny though. You talk about expectations of a game versus the reality. I feel like that's very much a parallel with Sea of Thieves back in 2018 when that came out. People's image of what they wanted the game to be versus what it was at the time, and of course what it is now.
Yeah.
Very similar to Cyberpunk's reception.
That's
by some.
Really, it's a very honest appraisal, honestly, because we really did see a lot of the industry be like, well, this isn't the game I thought. I was expecting Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and now you're telling me that Pixar is going to be holding my hand a treasure on a map? Nah, I don't want that. Which is funny because we come into this update and we're closing in on 3 years with the game at this point, and there's so much going on in just this update alone that I can't wait to actually get to take a break from Cyberpunk and jump back into Sea of Thieves to be able to have some fun with this, because this just looks like it's a whole handful of fun. So I did get to play a little bit this Saturday with Mina and Big Bad Pad and Dub Goose, a whole bunch of folks from the community. And as we were kind of going there, they did a lot of the work, and I sat around in menus a lot of the time, just kind of reading through the events tab, because man, there is a ton of stuff. So overall impressions from the start, how are you feeling about the Festival of Giving?
I think this is the best holiday update they've had in the 3 years of holiday updates. Normally it was just the Gilded Voyages. Last year we had the Humble Gifts, and this year it's even more to do on the seas. Still in that whole spirit of giving, but yeah, it's a lot to do, a lot to digest, and a lot that kind of help give you direction when you start out at an outpost.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
A lot to choose from.
And the thing that I think rubbed people the wrong way last time, and what I was kind of worried about this season, was the gifts. The Festival of Giving
Mhm.
last year introduced the humble and the, oh gosh, what was the other one? It was the humble gift and the precious gift. No, I can't remember what the other one was called. But yeah, we
I don't remember it either.
yeah, I don't know why that's escaping me. It's such a dumb thing to forget. But yeah, Festival of Giving. I know people listening are probably already got it for me. So I'm glad you guys remember. I appreciate that. And
Generous gift.
generous gift. Good on you.
Humble gift, generous gift.
Once I deciphered all the skeleton ruins, I totally blanked out what the heck those things were even called and just called them gifts because that's what the skeleton ruins always said.
Yeah.
But this season we still have humble and generous gifts, although I've only ever seen humble gifts from the voyages that we get. But you don't have to; those are not the way that you actually earn credit for giving things. And I think that is hands down the best change they could have possibly have made, because we don't have the Reaper's hideout the way it used to be with the mysterious stranger Wanda and the table, where people would have to go there, actually pick them up and turn them in. Now it's just anything. It doesn't matter necessarily what it is, and it's 50 total as opposed to like 50 gifts for you and 50 gifts for other people, or whatever the godforsaken number it was last year. And I think that really,
Right.
that is what I think really makes a difference. Because when it was just the humble gifts, it felt like it was kind of a lore tie-in. It felt like, you were doing something that was a little shady, and it was benefiting the mysterious stranger. This time it feels more like you're actually trying to contribute to other people's wealth, other people's reputations, and actually trying to give them an opportunity to get some treasure that they may not be expecting this go round.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot better of a feeling when I'm out and about.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, I think it gives you more options in terms of player encounters. Like oftentimes with the humble and generous gifts, you'd have those at the end of your journey. You'd be like, oh man, I gotta go to the Reaper hideout or the Uncharted Island at the time and turn this in. Like it's kind of a pain to haul halfway across the map and do that, or expect another crew to do that. Versus now, you can basically go to any outpost or any crew that's in any area of the seas and give them treasure. It just feels like it's a lot more open of an option to bring players together, and that is something that Rare always wants to do with the game. But I feel like this year, especially, it's going to achieve that more readily for more players.
Yeah.
And they don't you don't have to have an explanation behind it too. It's
Yes.
like everybody knows that treasure goes to the outpost versus giving the humble and generous gifts. You'd be like, okay, with this, you have to take it to this uncharted island that is here. And I don't even remember if it was on the map last year or not.
No, I don't think so.
I can't remember. Yeah, no, I don't
No.
think it was. Like, take it to this point. It's like a new player would just look at you like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You trying to explain? It's like trying to get people to put up the Offer Alliance flag. It's just like sometimes it's a losing battle. Whereas this is just so much easier. And I think and hope and know from my experience already that it's gonna be a lot easier to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is the key thing there is what you said, is there's not really any education around this type of an event. Like, you don't have to teach people, and that makes so much more of a difference as opposed to last year, where most of the people generally either had to get 2 ships on a server to trade with friends, or you had to hijack a ship, sail them over to the island, and actually hand them the actual like item, and then hope that they were smart enough to figure out like, oh, I get it, I have to actually hand this to the person that's right in front of me. It's like, yes, thank you,
Yeah.
yes, I just need you to take it from me and hand it to her. That counts. And getting them to do that was not always, especially if they weren't in game chat or they weren't on PC. PC, it was a little bit easier because you could hear both party chats. But if they were in a party chat and you didn't have text type in for your console, there was no way to express like, please take this off me and hand it to her. There's just like, there's no good way to do it. So it was really,
and because it looks so much different than any of the other treasure, it's like, what do I do with this?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it was really a real test of patience last year when we had to go through this. So I'm really happy to see that fundamental change with the gift of giving, or with the festival of giving, and how that actually works out for other people, being able to understand what the heck we're even talking about when we're asking people to do this stuff.
And that it's a completely separate. So there's the 12 deeds of giving goals, and then there's also the giving pieces of treasure to another crew and having them cash it in. It's separate.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's easier for people to understand and sort of differentiate the two things.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's great too. I absolutely love that. There's multiple ways to actually play through this. So, on top of the normal bilge rat voyages that we're getting, which right now it looks like they are for the different seas. Like you've got the ancients, the shores of plenty, the wilds, and is there a roar one? Because I haven't seen a roar voyage for this.
I don't know, actually.
So you can pick up free voyages from Lorena. She will send you out, do a bunch of digging. The cool thing that I found out about these voyages is I was sitting in menus while other people were doing the hard work yesterday, was that these voyages actually give you chests of rage, ash and wind skulls. So if you've been out there and you're like me and you're waiting for Rare to nerf the hell out of Ash and Winds so that you could actually feasibly do it and get the skull to burn skeleton ships to get credit for that. This is going to be a much easier way of actually getting those. And I think these voyages actually tie better into the Grog Mane. I have no clue. This is
Grogmane.
Grogmane. Is that it?
I don't know.
I know.
I'm not familiar with this apparent Scottish holiday.
Yes.
This is based on.
Yeah. So we found out, thanks to some of the folks in the Keelhauled podcast, that apparently there is a Scottish holiday tied into New Year's Eve, which is kind of what you would expect of anything, I guess the Scottish do when it comes to celebrating. And this kind of ties into that with the Grogmane. So at the beginning of the year, you're going to have explosions, and they're going to celebrate the event in January with explosive challenges, which right there takes me right back to the old days of bilge rat adventures and skeleton kegs and having to figure out how to run away from those and deal with those and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. But there's a bunch of rewards tied into that. Before we get into that, did you want to dive into the 12 deeds of giving? Because this is kind of the big deal right now. Like, this is the thing everyone's kind of jumping on every day to really play. So if you guys aren't aware, there's actually the 12 deeds of giving, and it's a song. It's the 12 days of Christmas, but with a Sea of Thieves twist on it. I'm hunting really hard. I should honestly, you know what I should do?
I've got the list.
You got the list? I was going to go to Rare Thieves, and just crib off of their hard work, because I've been so steeped in freaking cyberpunk. Oh
my gosh.
So I'm telling you, man, I've spent so much time. So, did you want to list off a couple of the first ones that we've been working on? And I'll jump in.
Sure. Yeah. So 12 chickens drumming. This is delivering 12 cooked chickens to the hunter's call. 11 cannons cursing. This is striking other ships with a grand total of 11 cursed cannonballs while flying the Reaper's Mark flag. 10 legends searching. This is finding and interacting with 10 of Umbra's immortalizations on the Sea of Thieves. And plenty of islands, especially outposts, have multiples on them. So it's not too hard to do this one. 9 Skellies slain. That's killing 9 skeleton captains during bounty voyages from the Order of Souls.
Now that
8.
that one was the one that I think. So, and maybe you can tell me otherwise, but when I was sailing yesterday, folks were saying that this actually had to have skeleton captain, actual captain in the name of the skeleton for it to
Really? Oh,
count.
is that what it is?
Yeah. So that was
because
the caveat that I found out.
yeah, we were doing this one, and I thought we had done more than 9, but the counter said we hadn't. So maybe that's the reason why.
Mhm.
We just did Order of Souls missions until it was finished.
That's interesting. That's funny. Yeah. So from what I understand, if you do an Order of Souls, it doesn't matter where the Order of Souls comes from. I think you can even count as emergent skeleton captains, but the skeleton captains themselves have to have the title captain.
Captain. Oh,
which
that could very well be.
Yeah. If that's the case, that's awesome, because that means that people are going to be burning through skeleton voyages and trying to find skeleton captains. If anyone has run into my skeleton captain, please, for the love of everything, Reaper's Bones oriented, let me know, because I cannot find my skeleton.
I still look every time that I get an Order of Souls mission. I look at the names of the captains.
I still have yet to see my skeleton. I don't know if he's in there. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone with a recent photo that proves that he's still in the game. But yeah, if you're out there and you're working on these, and we've been kind of going over the 12 days of this event, or the 12 deeds of giving. Gosh, I don't know. Words are hard. But this is
agreed.
Each one unlocks every day. So you might be thinking, oh,
That's
well,
right.
I only have to, you go out and do one. But yeah, I love that it's opening up every day. There's a new thing. So
up until the 20th of December.
Yes. And so, okay, so we've got the 9 Skelly slaying. Did you want to jump in with the 8s and 7s?
With more? Sure. 8 quests embarking. That's just 8 voyages of any kind. 7 outposts outing. That's setting foot on all the outposts across the Sea of Thieves. 6 ships a sinking. That's sinking 6 enemy ships. I assume that means either player or skeleton.
I'm checking on Rare Thief, and shout out to Rare Thief for putting out a really awesome guide. If you guys don't know, definitely head over to rarethief.com to search theirs. Theirs does mention that skeleton ships will not count for this one.
Really? Oh.
So it sounds like you might have to go out sinking other crews. This one might be trouble for some folks that aren't as strong in the PvP aspect of the game. So
that's a good point. That's a good point.
The thing I'm interested about is if this is good for adventure or for arena, because arena is still an option. And I'm sure if you go into a sloop crew or a galleon crew, there's a good chance that you might actually be able to sink 6 ships after a few matches.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But it means, after December 15th, the seas might be a little more aggressive than normal.
Definitely.
With this one out there. Then we got 5 stolen things.
They really wanted to lean into that song, the 5 golden
they really
rings.
Did. Yeah. And in 5 chests that have been taken from another crew. 4 hauling booms. That's successfully turning in 4 gunpowder barrels to the Merchant Alliance. 3 fresh hens. Oh, do you want to say something about the booms?
Yeah, just to point out that it does specify that it does have to be Merchant Alliance. A lot of folks you can turn them into Reaper's Bones, but this and the 3 fresh hens specifically mention that you do have to turn these into the Merchant Alliance. So just to
Merchant Alliance.
Be aware of that when you guys are out there.
Right. Three fresh hens is catching and successfully handing in three living chickens to the Merchant Alliance.
Now, do we
Two total.
do we know if the chickens have to be part of a voyage, or that you can just get the actual crates off of a outpost?
I don't know.
It's an interesting one.
I imagine you'll want to put down a Merchant Alliance voyage and get the crates, because otherwise you're dependent on finding the crates washed up on islands, and that's
It's a lot tougher.
not a very reliable way to get those.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
So, two total dives. That's finding and handing in two shipwrecked treasure chests to the gold hoarders. And a monster is the almost, or this is the last one.
Yeah.
This is the last one. Okay. That rose from the sea. So you and your crew must defeat either a megalodon or a kraken.
That's actually not too hard of a thing, because those are going to pop on you just about any time. But in this case, you're going to actually have to wait for that day to unlock on the 20th, which I think is what that'll be.
Right.
For people to actually do that. And we were talking about it, and the thing that's great about this is you had said it before we started recording, or before I started recording, that these are things that will help get you off the outpost. One of the huge problems that I think a lot of people have with Sea of Thieves is when they get on, they just don't know what to do. They have a bunch of voyages, but everyone's just like, what should we do? And then by the time you get off the outpost, you get distracted by a bunch of other stuff, and it doesn't really matter. But it's always that kind of like that paralysis that you run into when you have so many options, and you're just like, I don't really know what I want to do when I get out here. I kind of just want to see how things go, especially given the server. So this is a great way for folks to have a day by day plan. You get 12 different things throughout this event, and it goes till the 20th of January, if I recall. So
that's correct. Yeah.
It'll fully unlock by the 20th of December. And after that, you've got an entire month to start working on these. So even the stuff where you might be thinking to yourself like, this is going to be a hard one for me to do. Take it a little at a time. Sinking 6 ships could be hard if you're trying to do it all in one day. Expect that you don't have to do it all in one day. Expect that you can do it over the next month and a half, and it'll feel less stressful as you kind of work towards it. And the more you log on, obviously, the more time you'll have to do that. But also try to pair up some of these as well too. So yeah, you have to hit an enemy crew with 11 cursed cannonballs on their ship. But that's going to help you if you plan out, encounters, and you actually sink a ship. Then boom, you not only were you able to work on the 11 cannons cursing, but you're also able to work on the 6 ships of sinking. And just try to think of it like that, as opposed to, I have to spend all day trying to hunt down people and I can't find any cursed cannonballs. This sucks. Try to think of it as a bigger macro adventure, as opposed to micro adventures, unless it's something like grab 3 chickens. That's easy enough.
But you can kind of chart out a course if you wanted to, looking at a site like Rare Thief, looking at the map to seeing like what animals are on what island, and putting down a Merchant Alliance quest to get chickens, and then also killing a few of them along the way and cooking them up so that you could do the Hunter's Call turn in, and going around to the different outposts. Like, you can really sort of do a full world tour just based on the goals that are in this.
Especially with one of them being the 7 outposts setting, or where you have to go sailing around. That's a great opportunity for you to be able to head out and actually work on some of these, specifically to pick up a merchant voyage for chickens. But before you do that, hey, why not go out and grab a cargo quest and pick up the cargo from the outpost, and then throw that on your ship, and then go out and do some chicken hunting as well too. Or
stop by a fort and grab the gunpowder barrels, and hopefully you'll find some cursed cannonballs in those barrels at a fort.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And yeah.
really try to, think broadly about all the things that you're going to have to do. And if you guys haven't seen out there, there's so many folks on Reddit and Twitter and Instagram that are building up these beautiful little infographics to kind of help guide people as far as like, what you've got, what you need to worry about, and how to optimize your time if you don't have a whole lot of time to be able to go out onto the actual seas. Makes a huge difference, especially if Rare Thief, again, a great way to have a guide, like you mentioned, for being able to do multiple things at once.
Mhm.
On top of that, though, that's just one part of that. Let's talk about the actual Twitch drops for the Frozen Horizon gear. Because this was something that actually came as a huge surprise to me. I figured we were going to be getting content for the game. I wasn't expecting them to have 3 weeks of Twitch drops, and that is insane. This is essentially an entire cosmetic set, from hair to hooks to belts to eye patches. Everything that you can wear is going to be made available through a Twitch drop for this Frozen Horizon set, which it always makes me think of Horizon Zero Dawn and Monster Hunter. Like, it's just it's a word salad of things that mean nothing but is associated with a cosmetic set. But first impressions, what did you think of the actual set itself?
Oh, I thought it looked great. I immediately, when they revealed this Twitch drop thing, I set a reminder on my phone every day to watch a stream for 20 minutes and get each piece, because I think this is a set that I'm going to want to have, just because it's wintry and it looks really nice.
Yeah, they did a great job.
One of the better cosmetic sets. It's not a costume by itself.
Yes, that I think is the huge thing. Is that it looks like a costume, but it's actually not. It actually is just a full set of clothing, and they went the whole gambit. They did the
hair.
Yeah, they did the hair, they did the eye patch, the belt, the hook, everything. And I think that's kind of what people want from the costumes, honestly. Like, one of the biggest requests was that the costumes were great, but they wanted the costumes broken up into pieces because they wanted to have the ability to mix and match this stuff. So if folks don't know how to get this, Twitch Drops is available for free. All you have to do is go to seathieves.com, look up Twitch Drops, or search for to how to be able to set this up, so that if you want to get these, you just make sure that your Microsoft account and your Twitch account are linked. And once they're linked, all you have to do is look for a Twitch streamer who has they typically have like drops enabled in the title. They want to make sure that they're promoting that. I've been watching The Longest John's Gaming recently, but there's a ton of folks out there, depending on when you're watching, who will have this enabled. And all you have to do is 20 minutes and you're all set to go. You have to claim the Twitch drops in the Twitch drops section of Twitch's website, which is just go to your profile, open that up. You'll see a thing in there that'll see like, hey, here's your drops. And you go in there and it has a little button, click claim, and it will automatically show up in your inventory, though may not be right away. So if, it doesn't show up the instant you click claim, like, chill. You're getting some
chill,
frozen gear,
like the frozen cosmetics. Yeah. Chill out.
But I was really loving this. It started on Friday the 11th, so I'm hoping that folks listening to this have already been up on it. It goes Friday through Tuesday each week. So this week it was the 11th through the 15th. Next week it'll be the 18th through the 22nd. And then the last week it'll be January 2nd through January 6th. And I'm excited for these. I think they're some of the best looking gear. I love that they're broken up into pieces. I'm fine watching 20 minutes or having a tab open on the side where it's, like you just, that's, you got them in the background while you're watching it. or on your phone. It's real easy to just open Twitch on your phone, mute it if you're not going to watch it, and then just have the phone going for 20 minutes on the charger or something like that.
Yeah.
Just do exactly what CJ did. Set a reminder, because otherwise,
because you might forget.
3 weeks in, you're going to be like, oh crap, I forgot this day. I didn't watch for 20 minutes, killing me here.
And then you didn't get the jacket or something important.
and it would be that too. It would be something like a big part of it, and you're like walking around in your makeshift, like your cosplay version of the Frozen Horizon jacket because you missed out on the one day. But talking about some of the other cosmetics, we did actually get we got a whole bunch of cosmetics in through the Emporium, but the one that we did get in game that wasn't tied to anything was probably the coolest figurehead I think I've ever seen. This figurehead pretty much takes the cake, where I've been religiously loyal to my Spinal figurehead. I absolutely love my Spinal figurehead. I talk about it all the time. It's the only one that goes on my ship, and I absolutely love it. We got the actual little I don't even know what did they call them in the actual game, because they just look like pill people to me. But
they do. Yeah. In the game, they are called the figurehead of the first crew.
Oh, okay. So they didn't specify.
They didn't specify what it is. So if you don't know the development history of Sea of Thieves, you might not know exactly the history behind this. But when Sea of Thieves started development, they used Unity, and they put together a really rough framework for how the game was going to work. And they used these sort of bean-looking characters. Kind of look like Fall Guys characters.
They really did.
They looked like beans, and it looked like exactly like the figurehead of the first crew, like very cartoony with mustaches and yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that has now been immortalized in the game through this figurehead, which is the most expensive figurehead in the game. Over 3 million gold to buy it.
Well, that's the funny Easter egg, isn't it? Because it's 3,182,018 gold, which if you
something like that,
Well, it's the date of the game's launch, March 20th, 2018. So and I love that, because the date, while it's really expensive, is a very important date for a lot of us fans of the game who were there day one and are still there, and it, a lot of people are like, I even saw some people who were like, well, why is it that much? That's such a weird number. And it's like, that's a special number. We keep that number close to our heart. But
it's my new favorite figurehead as well. I usually bounce between a couple of different ones, but my previous favorite was, I think, the Gold Hoarder figurehead that they gave away for turning in 200 Ruby Splashtails. That was a great figurehead. Oh my gosh. But I love this one even more. Like, I think I'll use this one all the time.
Yeah, it's great. If you haven't seen it in game, folks, definitely make sure to go check it out. It's essentially 3 giant barrels painted white, and they have these big kind of cylindrical pop out eyes, and like painted on lips and mustaches, and they have wood planks tacked onto the side of the barrel so that they hold up like a sword or a lantern. Yeah. I absolutely love it, because it's so simple, but if in the world where we see the Unity engine prototype for the game and how it works, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. They just roughed out a bunch of stuff to give some sort of body to look at while people are playing the game to test out if it's fun or not. But to see this realized in Sea of Thieves as like actual barrels that are worn, and it's great. They did such an awesome job, and kudos to them for being able to take the history of where the game was and actually have that represented in a fun way in Sea of Thieves that makes sense. I just absolutely love this. And
Me too. I did see some comments that, oh, it's breaking the immersion of my pirate fantasy. And it's like, well, if this is the first figurehead that's breaking your immersion,
yeah,
have you not seen
Halo,
all the other figureheads
Gears
that
of
are based
War.
on, like, on single games? Right, exactly. I think that ship has sailed, so to speak. And I am all for it. I am all for it. Break my immersion, break my pirate immersion, give me cool figureheads. I'm fine with it.
You have they're totally fine with the Ruby Splashtail King costume that turns you into a mermaid. That's fine. But
That's fine.
God forbid you tack a few barrels onto the front of your ship with some painted faces on it. That's breaking the immersion. It doesn't break your immersion. That's such a stupid comment. If you don't know the reference, then it's just a bunch of barrels and it doesn't make any sense and it's just silly looking.
Right.
If you know the reference,
Exactly.
that's why it breaks the immersion, because you know the reference. God.
Yes.
Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you're all having a great time. This week, I wanted to push you over to audiobooks.com. With the link and the code in the show notes, you can make sure that you can get your first 3 books from audiobooks.com for free. 2 that I would recommend right now. Hey, go pick up Ready Player 2. Listen to it. Let me know what you think. If you loved the first one, I would love to get some thoughts on the second one, because I have only one other person I know that I can talk with about this. The other book that I would recommend is Dune. There is a film coming out soon, and I'm looking forward to it, but you may not actually know the actual story of Dune. So if you get an opportunity and want to take some time, head over there to audiobooks.com with the link in the show notes and any code or affiliate, and sign up. Try out the first 3 books for free, and they can be VIP books if you want to. So let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye. Anyway, so I mean, I feel like we've been talking a lot. We haven't even really scraped like what's going on.
No, because there's so much going on with this update. There's so many things. The Pirate Emporium stuff that I bought immediately, of course. The Frozen Horizon ship.
Okay, so let's get into
the weapons and the Bone Chiller costume.
Let's
bought those immediately.
Let's jump into so yeah, Pirate Emporium's out now. Holy crap, is this stuff amazing looking? Like, I was looking at it and I was like, God, I'm going to have to spend some money. I've been really good lately and I've been holding off. But the Frozen Horizon ship collection is just so cool. It's
great.
It really makes you want an ice biome, man. Like, it's awesome. So if you guys haven't seen this ship is just gorgeous looking. It has all of the awesome like different pieces of ship that are frozen over. Like the helm is frozen over. The figurehead is just a giant glacial mass, and the figurehead, the collector's figurehead, where it has like the steam coming off of it, because it looks like it's dry ice. Like, it's insane. It just looks so good. But that's $30. So, you're gonna be
understandable if you don't want to.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Plunk down the money for
it's holiday season. This would be a good time for someone to be like, "Hey, I heard you like Sea of Thieves. I bought you this currency for you if you wanted to be able to buy something in the Emporium. This would be a great way to show some love to a loved one if they wanted this." But yeah, the cannons are amazing. The sails are amazing. And pets, we got glacial pets, which
glacial curse. Yeah,
it looks amazing. These pets, like, I was not a huge fan of the cursed heart one, because I'm like, oh, cool, an exposed rib cage with a beating heart. that's a
little freaky.
Yeah, that's good for kids. But these are just like big old ice kitties and ice puppies, and they're so adorable. Yeah. I actually really love these.
They are adorable. Yeah, me too.
Did you want to touch on the I don't know what they call it, but I call it the Krampus costume that we got in
the Bone Chiller costume?
Yes, there it is.
It's just a big old skeleton costume, skeleton Santa.
Yes,
sort of looking costume, with horns on the top of your head, and yeah, you're fully transformed into a skeleton for the first time in the game.
Yeah. First time in the game. We've been asking for a skeleton curse forever. And when the curses came out, we're like, sweet, now you guys have a way to affect your character. And we've been wanting a skeleton. This is the first instance of us actually having a way to become like a skeleton. The caveat is
Yeah.
that you're going to be a skeleton in a holiday getup the whole time.
Well, you're dressing as a fabled skeleton lord who punishes selfish pirates during the festival of giving, according to the description.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually,
This is one I bought immediately.
yes.
And I think I've seen a lot of people complain that a lot of folks are dressed in this costume now. And yeah, I am as well. I think it looks great.
Well, gosh darn it. If you're going to get upset about this, then why weren't you upset during the Ruby Splashtail debacle? Like,
well, not everybody bought that. So you didn't see a ton of those on the seas.
True.
Right.
This just proves that it depends on what they make. If they make something like this, which fits well and with the lore, it makes sense, and it has that kind of shock value to it, then it's like, cool, yeah, I absolutely love this. The Ruby Monarch thing I just didn't think really hit with people. I think the Ruby Splashtail thing was a fun kind of meme when it was going on, but it definitely didn't fit in with any of the content that they were releasing at the time. This fits into the content.
Right.
This buys into the holiday thing that's going on with the Festival of Giving right now, and it makes sense.
Yep. It does, and it also the other thing is that so you have the Frozen Horizon costume with Twitch drops that you can get for free. And then also there's this paid Bone Chiller costume that you can buy through the Pirate Emporium. I think it's important that, a seasonal cosmetic like this, they're really giving you two ways to get that kind of content on your pirate. And I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. I will say that the one drawback to this is that these are definitely parts of marketing, because one is driving engagement, one is driving microtransactions, and that,
yes,
as far as I can tell, I have not seen any new costumes come to the game through normal means of just being able to purchase them as a gold sync, outside of the figurehead.
Right.
Everything else that you can pick up this event, from what I've seen, is all either earned through the Emporium, through Twitch drops, or through completing events, like the 12 Days of Giving. Those rewards, from what I recall, those are all Gold Hoarder equipment items. So as long as you guys are working towards the 12 Days of Giving, you'll be able to unlock Gold Hoarder versions, the really nice Gold Hoarder versions of the Spyglass, the Tankard, the shovel, things like that. And actually, I don't know if the shovel's in there. I could be wrong about that. But regardless, you get that. The one cool thing about the Pirate Emporium is that they tend to throw in a few free things. So if you're out there and you're thinking, I don't have any money that I can really spend, it's the holiday season, I got to pick up a lot of gifts for everyone else, but I still want to get something from the Emporium, you can still get a free Frozen Horizon Tankard and a free generous gift emote. So those are two things that you can at least pick up that you can have some fun with, so that you can actually get something without having to spend anything in the actual Emporium. The old stuff that we got last year are back. The weapon, the specially gift wrapped weapons are now back. So if you guys missed out last year on the Festival of Giving and you wanted to pick up the weapons that were available last year, they are back. You can always pick up the weapons bundle at a discount if you guys were hoping to pick those up. Those are time limited, by the way. So and that's another thing too. Keep an eye out for some of this stuff, because some of it's time limited, some of it's not. And I would expect that a lot of this stuff is probably going to go away in January, probably around the 20th. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was something specific I think that was it as far as the Emporium goes, unless I'm missing something.
There's frozen weapons as well. So there's not
That's it.
only the sort of gift wrapped weapons that we had last year that are returning, but also the frozen Horizon weapons
And
set.
that's a bundle too. Like you can actually pick
Yes.
up the Heart of Ice bundle. So if you've been listening to this and you've been thinking like, oh yeah, I want to pick up some of that stuff. If you just want to get a few of the things, you can actually pick up the Heart of Ice bundle on the Microsoft and Steam store. Those will run you $15 to $17 in your native currency, and that you'll actually be able to pick up the ice themed weapons, and as well as the glacial curse Inu, and some gold and some ancient coins along with that. So kind of an easy way for you guys to pick up some of the stuff if you can't just go all out and purchase everything, or maybe you did purchase everything but you still want to pick up a pet and some weapons. This is a good a much cheaper way to actually pick those up as well too. um, Other than that, I think the one thing that we should touch on is probably the flares, because that's new.
Yep. Cannon flares.
So was it last week cannon flares showed up as a mysterious icon from the actual ship merchant in at the shipping yard. You go over there, you'd see like, capstan, wheel, cannons, and then ship flare. We didn't really understand what those were unless you're in the know. But we have cannon flares now. These are something that are going to be added to the Pirate Emporium ship sets. If you already own a ship set for a cannon flare that is coming out, so for example, in the patch notes, it actually talks about the Cutthroat cannon flare, the Bird and Bear cannon flare. Those are released. Those are going to be grandfathered into the set that you purchased. So if you did have those and you were thinking, oh, great, well, they're coming out for all the different cosmetic sets in the Pirate Emporium. If you've purchased them, you're already going to get those in your inventory. You won't have to buy those separately, which I appreciate, because that's, that was an assumed cost when you purchased it initially. They're adding to the cost, but in this instance, they're not actually charging people. Kind of a nice, good faith measure on Rare to say like, hey, we could charge for these because they're new. We're going to give them to the people that purchased early and not have to charge them twice for the same essential cosmetic set. So, have you played around with these?
I've been using the Frozen Horizon cannon flare.
How is it?
And it adds a color to when you fire a cannon. It adds a color. Normally there would just be like a white smoke effect on the blast out of your cannon, and now it adds sort of a blue icy effect to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. It's not something that I was asking for necessarily, but it sort of adds to your overall look of your ship, I suppose.
I worry that these are going to be something that are fun but hinder gameplay, because as we know, cannons are a very touchy topic when it comes to cosmetics.
Yes,
fluted cannons,
the shape of the cannon, whether it's a flared cannon or
yeah. So I've seen some of the effects. I'm worried that these are going to be a little too flashy and they're going to linger too much. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully it's just an add-on, but I'm worried that they're going to linger to the point where you lose visibility when firing, because you got your sparkle cannons for your rainbow, for your Viva Pinata set, or whatever they have, and you're just like, okay, well, cool. I would love to shoot this thing. I cannot see where I'm aiming because they've moved, I've moved. We're both two moving things, and there's a bunch of glitter in my face. So I
have sailed and I have fought other ships. I have not had a problem with that to where it's noticeable, right?
Yeah.
Like I know on some of the cannon types where they flare out at the end, or the barrel of the cannon is somewhat different, it can impact like your aiming, and it can impact the performance of the cannon in general at times. Whether that's a bug or intended is sort of up in the air. But the cannon flare itself, I did not find that distracting, and maybe it was just the one that I had equipped was fine for that. But
Mhm.
so far so good on that front for me anyway. I know it's going to differ from pirate to pirate.
Well, hopefully it doesn't impact people too much. That's the concern. I think is just the thing is that people have these, they want to use them. It seems like people like them. I haven't seen too much out there that people are like, no, I don't like these. I think a lot of people kind of fall into your category where they're like, I didn't ask for these, but now that they're
I'll
here,
take it.
we'll take them. And I'm kind of interested. So this actually was something that, so if you guys hadn't seen anything come into the game that you wanted to spend gold on besides the figurehead, there are a bunch of base colors for the ships that you can actually go over and pick up. And I want to say that they're about 110,000 each for the colors in gold.
I think you're
Yeah,
right.
I think last I checked, they were 110,000. So not too expensive. Um, probably a little bit more than your capstan or your cannon, your normal cosmetic. But again, these are really out there as far as like, how far do you really want to go with customizing your ship? Um, Granted, it's not like the changing the lantern cosmetics on your ship, because I think I would have rather have had different lanterns on my ship
Uh,
as opposed to cannon flares. But I'll take cannon flares for now as I wait for the lanterns to be able to be changed. Just just based on some of the lanterns that we have in the game, it's like the tech is there, the modeling is there. Just let me swap them. I would love to just be able to
I
swap them.
I would like that. Yeah, I also want rowboat cosmetics. Like if I have a ship
Yeah,
set on, just if I dock a rowboat to my ship, it changes into that
right.
set.
Oh God, yeah. That feels like a huge swing and a miss so far. Yet, please, rare. Let me have that.
We know they can customize the rowboats because it is that way in Arena.
It's
So
true. Yeah. And you see the rowboats all the time on the islands. They have specific cosmetics. So they can be
true.
painted. They just aren't at the
They
moment.
can be
But for
painted.
the low price of $7.99 in the Pirate Emporium, you too can buy the the rowboat cosmetic.
Well, I think this is another like great side effect of the upcoming seasons is they're going to need options, right, to offer people as rewards as you level up in the season. And so they're going to need more cosmetic types to give you. And so I feel like maybe then we'll see lanterns or maybe we'll see rowboat stuff. Like I could definitely see that stuff being added because I'm sure it's not just you and me coming up with this. I'm sure Rare has had meetings where they've thought about that and
Yeah.
maybe put that down as a sort of future thing.
Definitely. Yeah. And I guess this is a great way to kind of take a look at the plethora of cosmetics. Like if they're giving out a whole bunch of different cosmetics for Twitch drops, it's kind of assumed that this is going to be how seasons are going to run. We're seeing a lot of
Yeah.
cool stuff that is coming, but it's all broken up into pieces. It would not surprise me, similar in the same vein as most other season passes with games, that these cosmetics are going to be spread out across the different levels of the season.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, I'm fine with it, honestly, because I look forward to leveling up my season passes and seeing where that next unlock is and how I'm going to be able to get one piece closer to a full set, and working on making sure that I get the full set so that I don't, be that awkward Joe out there who missed day 12 of the Twitch drops of 30 days and, miss out on or the 15 days and miss out on the fact that I don't have said frozen jacket for my set. Like that would just, that would kill me. But knowing if it's all in a season pass, all I have to do is just, I have a tangible goal. I have a tangible reason that I can actually look to, a quantifiable sense of earning loot in the game, and know that I'm always going to be working towards that. So I'm hoping that's the case in this
Yeah,
instance.
me too.
Um,
Yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot else that I think was worth.
We're missing one thing. We're missing the 1,000-day eye patch.
Oh, that's right. And there's there's
We
even
haven't
more
talked
that I'm
about
thinking
that
about
yet.
too. We haven't even gone into the plunder presence at all either.
That's true.
Oh my god.
This update is crazy.
Okay, so let's dive into the 1,000 days eye patch, which I think personally is a perfect way to approach uh, respecting the people who've been around forever, because we're moody bunch, and new players. For so I have it pulled up. Do you have the info on this? Did you want to tackle this?
Oh, I don't. Have
Okay,
it
I'll
pulled up.
tackle it. So December 14th, which as of recording is technically tomorrow. So if you're listening to this, it is the 1,000th day of Sea of Thieves since the launch. And to celebrate that, people who sail between December 13th and December 16th will receive a 1,000 days eye patch. And the way you can tell it's 1,000 days is it has the Roman numeral M, which is weird to say that it's a Roman numeral because it's a letter, but I'm going to look over that and try and understand that later when I go on Wikipedia. If you are sailing during this time, if you've been sailing since day one, there are two versions of this. The first version is just the everyone version, which is just a regular. It looks like the day one eye patch, but instead of a 1, it has an M in red, which is kind of funny because the day one eye patch is a red 1, as opposed to the regular eye patch, which has nothing on it that looks like the same model. If you've been sailing since day one, you get a gold M. Ooh. And it's stupid. It's silly. I love it. I love the fact that they're doing this because I wasn't expecting a 1,000-day eye patch. But considering it's been 999 days since the day I started playing this game, from the launch version, I'm so proud to know that I've been able to earn this without knowing that it was a thing that was going to be earned. And I'm hoping that folks get a chance to pick this up, because it would really be a bummer if you were a day one pirate, you are playing, but you, for whatever reason, are so steeped in cyberpunk that you didn't pull your head up to be able to look around and be like, is there anything else I should be doing right now? Yes, you need to log into the game right now if you're listening to this before the 16th and get your M pirate patch so that you can actually get this. Yeah. As far as
how many times in the last 999 days have you worn your day one patch?
I have mine equipped right now.
Do you really?
I wear it almost exclusively. Yeah.
I do not. I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've put that patch on.
Oh, man.
But I like it. I think it's a fun joke, and I think the Roman numeral M is a fun addition as well.
Yeah, I absolutely.
I don't think I'm going to wear it, but I like
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I am super proud of my day one eye patch, and I absolutely love it. And the same thing with my launch Eye of Reach. Like there are 3.
Oh yeah,
there are 3 cosmetics that I typically have on me all the time. I usually have the Keelhauled tattoo, the original tattoo set that had the original Keelhauled logo on my back. I've always got my day one eye patch on, unless I'm doing something weird and I'm just taking it off for the sake of a specific sail. And I've always got the spinal figurehead if it's my ship. Those are like the 3 things that I'm like, I will always lean on those. That and the launch crew Eye of Reach. So I guess 4 things that I almost always, if I'm using Eye of Reach, it's my launch crew. I will buy everything else, but I will exclusively use the launch crew. So I love this. I think it's an interesting way to go about respecting the people that haven't been around, but also the people that have been around. I just worry that it's one of those things. I would love it if they had said anyone who has the day one eye patch can earn the gold M edition, because that way it's because there's going to be people that picked it up, but servers were pretty rough on the first week. And if they're like, nah, I'm going to wait until things cool off. If they didn't log in and get their day one eye patch, I don't know. Because it was an automatic thing back then. I don't think you had to. Well, no, you did have to buy it. I think you had to buy it for 1 gold.
I think that's right. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's touchy. That's a weird thing. I would love to understand. They give a little bit of information about, like if you log in between this time and this time, expect 72 hours. But I don't think anyone's actually seen any comments that I've seen, or I haven't seen anyone comment about if it's like the first day or if it's like the first week for when you logged in. So hopefully it's hopefully it works out for a lot of people. I've already seen a couple of people saying that they're going to miss out on the gold one because they weren't there, which is it's a bummer, man. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
But this is kind of where it comes down to. It's like, who were the diehards when this game came out, and who are still around to earn this? Hopefully you are. Hopefully you get this. Did you want to dive into the plundered treasure content?
The plundered treasure content. You mean gifting other crews?
Yeah, the plundered presents. I guess it'd be the
plundered presents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is a separate event where the goal is to give other crews treasure, and then they have to cash them in for you to get credit for this one. And you get, again, various pieces of gear, like a spyglass and a tankard. And also each day, if you get a crew to hand in 5 pieces of treasure, you get 5,000 gold. So you get a little something too.
I actually really like this, except it's really hard for me to watch people who took my treasure without me wanting to give them my treasure. and not go. Like, I was sailing yesterday and we had 2 galleons and we got sunk by a really good crew. Both our ships got sunk and we had a whole bunch of treasure, and everyone was pretty okay with it except me, because I was the one that wanted to go back and get my treasure back. And everyone's like, no. Let them take it. Let them turn it in. I'm like, I don't want them to turn it in. It's mine. And like a petulant child, I had to pout around on the top deck, watching this galleon sail over to Reaper's hideout and turn in all of the hard work that they had put in, that I logged into and barely had any effort in. And as they were turning it in, I was watching, like, getting 5,000, getting 5,000, getting 5,000, getting 5,000. And I was like, it's something.
Yeah.
It's something, but it still pains me to watch all that good hard treasure go to someone else. But
that's true. You want it to be purposeful when it's happening, and not something that was stolen from you.
Yeah.
You want to have given the crew.
Yes.
That
it's the sense of agency in it. Like, when something's taken away, you never feel good about it. But when something's given away, you actually feel good about it. So yeah, I'm glad that if you do get sunk and you lose out, because this was always the biggest issue with Sea of Thieves. Well, not the biggest issue. There's plenty of issues with Sea of Thieves that people have had over the years. But one of the problems is that you could be out there sailing for a couple hours, have a bunch of wealth, get krakened and lose it all, or have a good crew sail up on you, or you could sink and lose everything, and there was nothing you could do about it. You just had to suck it up and recognize that you just weren't going to get any treasure this session. And this is the first time that I think it's like, we lost. You hate to see it, but at least you're getting, what is it, 15
something for it.
Yeah, you're getting 25,000 gold out of that, if I'm doing the math right, because I think it's the first 5 treasures at 5,000, so it's 25,000 that you'll get. So you get something, and it works towards the actual events tab. So the plunder presence is actually an event. So this is kind of replacing the gifts event that we talked about last year, where you just go dig up a bunch of presents and then hope to God that you found a crew that would go turn them in, or you had to go dump them off on the table over at Reaper's hideout, and hope that somebody visited there if you were on the server still, and you just like you didn't want to spook them. They were going over the Reaper's hideout, and you're like, all right, don't move. They may actually go turn in our gifts. And you just sit there and
We
wait.
put the gifts on the table or right in front of the person. Will they do it?
Yeah. And this is a much better way. Being able to turn in any piece of treasure is so much nicer. 50 is the mark that you have to hit, which is easy.
But there are milestones as well. The first milestone is at 5, second is at 25, and then 50. So these are easier to hit, but at least you also get something while you're on the way to 50.
Which I think that's a great design. That is a great way to incentivize people to be okay with, so if you're out there and you have someone that you meet, you can still turn in a lot of your treasure, but you can also leave a few pieces behind before you log out and hope that someone shows up there and turns it in, or just as you're going in, if you see a crew and you want to get a few pieces worked on as you're sailing by, grab a piece of loot, swim over, drop it off on their ship, and then just go back, grab a mermaid, and you're good. And you'll slowly kind of work up to those milestones and hit them, and you feel good, like, oh, sweet. Today I dropped off a few pieces of treasure, like good old Santa Claus, and I got a tankard out of it, or all the gold hoarder stuff. Much, much better way. And I'm glad that there's a cap to it so that folks feel like there's a feasible end. Because I'm pretty sure between now and the 20th of January, you're gonna be able to.
Oh, this one ends before the 20th of January.
Oh, okay. So
this one only has about 16 days remaining when this podcast comes out. So
this is why I have you on.
Yeah, up till the end of December.
Okay. So end of December, you got to dig up 50 pieces of treasure and give them to someone and have them turn it in.
Yep. Yesterday I was sailing with Space Admiral Oars, and we found a crew who was actually a Order of Souls emissary. We were Order of Souls emissary. We allied with them at an outpost, and we got them to turn in the loot that we had. And while they were turning in their own stuff, which included skulls, we ended up getting alliance credit for that, as well as emissary credit for it. So we ended up getting a lot of gold just off of that, including like the 5,000 that you get for each 5 gifts that the other crew turns in. So it was really good.
That's awesome. See, and that's what I like about this game. This is the part of the game that really, like, it changes how you think about what you expect in most games. Like, you never know what's going to happen on Sea of Thieves, and hearing stories like this or hearing stories from other people, it's so cool just to think like anything can happen at any given time. And there's no rhyme or reason to it at all. Sometimes you can understand the motivations of someone. But for all intents and purposes, like, this game is available to play however you want. And there's just something really kind of like relieving about that. You're not working on a raid. You're not trying to get the highest KDA. You're not trying to find the best spot to hide in a corner and with a barricade shield and a shotgun or something. It's like it's great to see just the different things that can happen around in here. I'm thinking that covers. I feel like that covers a majority of the stuff. We haven't really touched on the Grog Mini. I have no clue.
Right.
Minet. I'm going to dig into that. I think for next episode, I think I'm going to actually do some research once I've got the initial Cyberpunk podcast out of the way and actually figure out what's going on with that, figure out how people can earn credit for whatever that's going to be, and have something to talk about next week. But was there anything that you can think of that you wanted to dive into that you were really happy with this event? Or I guess overall, is there anything that you wanted to touch on just as feedback for this event?
I mean, I think it's a great event. They added so many things to do. I kind of see it as a preview. I hope it's a preview of what to expect during seasons when those are revealed, and just in terms of amount of content and the things that you do on the seas. A lot of these 12 deeds are things that you can just do, you would do maybe in the normal course of things, or you can set out directly with the intention of doing them. And I think, that flexibility is important to Sea of Thieves, that nothing feels completely like a checklist, which some events in the past have felt like. You can sort of approach this any way that you want. And I really appreciate and like that. As I was saying, we allied with an Order of Souls boat yesterday when playing. And then after that, we were just chatting in game chat. And there was a galleon that had sunk this crew before that had stolen a fort from them. So we actually like took our sloop and their brig and got revenge for them
Nice.
against this galleon. And then we had all the treasure from the galleon on our ship, but we were like, oh guys, like you can cash this in, like we don't need any of it. And we ended up getting credit for the plundered presents off of that as well. So it's
Oh, that's funny.
uh,
That's great.
it's just great. I think it is exactly that kind of experience that Rare has wanted to encourage for so long. I think this is the first event in a little while that has really, truly gotten that goal achieved.
Yeah. This feels like a much better way of going about content than it's, yeah. Overall, I would say this kind of, it it's enough content to feel like one of the big patch drops that we used to get, like when there was a huge event and there was a ton of new content to check out with like the Forsaken Shores or the Curse sales. And this gives us still some of the stuff to work towards each month, or at least is unlocked throughout a month, so that it doesn't feel like a huge thing that you have to knock off in the first week before everyone does it and then drops off. Keeping content staggered throughout the month ensures that folks who are dedicated will continue to come back and work towards different things and catch up on stuff that they miss. So you don't feel like you're punished for not being there every single day. You can totally knock out 3 or 4 of these day events in one day after a bunch of them have unlocked. And that's the kind of catch up mechanic that I think people want to see with Sea of Thieves. They don't want to feel like they're pressured to log in every single day and knock out each thing each day. I think everyone is okay jumping in on the weekend when you have more time to sail and knock out a few of these and kind of save up some of the other stuff for later and then kind of work on it little by little. So really happy with this event. I agree 100%. If this is how they go about with seasons, and the cosmetics look good and there's something that's a draw, I could totally see wanting to put the money down and work towards a season pass in Sea of Thieves if this is how this is how they're going to roll out content. I really hope that they spend some more time on this events page. Still feels really rough trying to navigate through some of that stuff, and it's a little more kind of easier to navigate now that you're kind of familiar with it, but I feel like there could be some refinement with how it looks.
Yeah, if I was a new player, I would be so lost in all this stuff.
Yeah.
Even the last update when they first introduced this, it was hard for me to keep everything straight. And in fact, first jumping on the seas with the 12 Deeds of Giving event, I wasn't even looking at the lock on the illustration for some of these. So I thought we could do some of these now. Like I hadn't realized that they were opening up day by day. So that kind of screwed up a little bit of our first voyage on the seas because I thought more were open than actually were.
Yeah.
So we had some false starts, and then I didn't read the description of all of them. So like we shot cursed cannonballs at a skeleton ship without the Reaper mark up, which didn't count for the 11 cannons cursing objective. So
yeah,
you gotta make sure you read them, and you gotta make sure you're doing the right ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in little caveats, like shooting 11 cursed cannonballs, that's easy enough to grasp. But trying to remember that you have to have your Reapers markup, especially sometimes when the flags get bugged out and they don't always look like they're up, even though they are technically up, can definitely cause some issues for folks. Because you may be shooting green ones and have the flag up, but the flag may not be flying, and you may be thinking that the flag is glitched instead of which cursed cannonballs work or which cursed cannonballs don't. Do skeleton captains have to have captain in the name of them? Like, do skeleton ships work? There's a lot of dialogue or a lot of caveats in like what works and what doesn't work. So I still encourage people to go out there, do some CS science, try to pay attention to when things register and when don't, and what are the conditions under it, to try and understand better how some of these things work, so that more and more people can get informed by this, and use resources outside of Sea of Thieves if you have to. Rare Thief, YouTube, myself, streamers, anecdotal evidence can help, but make sure that you're testing out there on your own, because as much as we love this event, you kind of have to play around with some of the things, and you have to talk to people, and you have to figure out like, okay, well, what counts, what doesn't count, what were the things that helped contribute to that. But
yeah,
outside of that, man,
we didn't even talk about Gilded Voyages.
Oh, shoot.
Which,
yeah.
Again, people are doing this, and I almost did this, where you think you can buy all of the Gilded Voyages from Lorena, but you can only get one, and you only have one.
Yep.
Gilded.
Yeah, that's something that I don't think people I don't think that was really communicated anywhere that I saw. Yeah, so Gilded Voyages. Yeah. If you're new to the game, this may be kind of a question mark for you. Gilded Voyages are something that they introduced into the game in year one for the holiday season. It was their first holiday event, actually, and it essentially was a really, really good voyage that was short. So if you did the Order of Souls one, it would send you to like 2 islands. It was typically Lone Cove and Cannon Cove, and you would have 2 voyages, 4 captains each, and each group of captains would spawn with a bunch of skeletons, but most of those skeletons were all powder keg skeletons. So as long as you shot one of the skeletons, you would immediately blow up the entire group, and a whole bunch of skulls would be on the ground. And it was a great way to get like 40 skulls. And that was, or actually, yeah, I guess it was more than 2 voyages, but same thing with Athena's Void or Athena's Fortune. You would go out and you would dig up a bunch of Athena's quests or a bunch of digs, and you'd get like 3 Athena's chests after you did like 2 or 3 X marks the spot maps. And it was amazing. It was awesome. And the problem with it was that you could only get 1 per pirate. So if you had 1 pirate, you would get 1 voyage, and nowhere did it ever tell anyone you can only pick up 1 Gilded Voyage, and once you pick up that one, all the others become locked out. So,
yep.
And
it's unlike any voyage type in the games.
Yeah, it's the only. It
probably should have come up with a better way to communicate that, or something.
Yeah.
For new players, because it's very confusing, because it acts like no other voyage in the game does.
And it's only available 3 times in the last 3 years. This is only the 3rd time it's ever been available. So I know some people out there will have like a second account, and they'll make a pirate, they'll grab a voyage, they'll drop the voyage on a table, delete the pirate, and then create a new one. And then get Gilded Voyages. It's a way that people have been farming loot for a long time. If you have looked at the Pirate Legend commendations, there's some out there for like turning in 500 cargo crates, and that is a hefty task. But if you do Gilded Voyage, that will definitely help out for that as well too. So choose wisely. Pick something that you decide to work on. And the nice thing about the Gilded Voyages is that they don't go away. You can hang on to them for an entire year until the next Gilded Voyage is offered, and then once that's done, you can pick up the new one and go about your business. But for the first couple weeks, I would definitely say hang on to them. especially if you pick up the Pirate Legend one, because there are streamers out there who are just hunting for people working on those right now. And seems like a good time to use it. Hold on to it. Wait for a time when it's in a lull in content where people aren't out there hunting for these specifically, looking for the islands that they know they're going to be on. CJ, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on? Do you feel like we adequately touched on just about everything?
Yeah, I think we hit on everything.
Okay.
With this update. It's a beefy update.
It really is, yeah. And this is just the start of it. Like, this is just us leaning into what is hopefully going to be an amazing start of 2021 with the seasons in January, and I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good time.
Me too.
It feels like such a weird year, and we've gotten a lot of really cool stuff this year. But this feels like a positive move in the way that I think Sea of Thieves is going to sustain itself, the way so many other games as a service operate. And I'm glad that it feels like they've kind of found their groove. And at this point, it just comes down to cadence. If they can create content each month that is compelling for the span of a 3-month time frame, so they have that kind of buffer for when they have to get new content out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing sort of a month where there's a lot of great content. There's the 12 Deeds of Giving, then there's Grogmanay and the Plundered Presents. If they can stretch that kind of variety into an entire season of Sea of Thieves, if that's what the 3-month period of a season is going to be, fantastic. Like, if there's reasons to come back every day or every couple of weeks, there's going to be something new. That's awesome. Like, I really hope that that's the case. So I'm ready for it. Bring on 2021.
Yeah, me too. Well done, Rare. I really, really think you guys knocked it out of the park with this one. It feels like a weird thing to say considering we've had really cool events this year, but yeah, go with this. I feel really confident that this is a positive way to approach content and not feel punished for skipping a few days for Cyberpunk, or for being able to save up my time for like a weekend when I can really dive into it with a couple crews and have a good 4 or 5 hour voyage on the weekend or something like that. So I think that's going to do it. CJ, you're pretty much known just about everywhere for anyone that's over like 22. But if folks that are under 22, or maybe just folks that are just getting into gaming and they're in their 50s and they're thinking, man, Atari was cool, I wonder what's going on, where can I find out more information about these video games that people seem to be talking about with their Fortnites and their Animal Crossings and stuff? Please do me the honor of plugging yourself.
You calling me an oldster?
I am calling us an oldster. We are of the
we are both
oldsters. Anyone that has grown up with a 2-button controller in their hand, I feel like is an oldster at this point. It wasn't.
That's probably true.
Not until the 90s that people were playing with 3 buttons. Freaks. Get out of here with your 3 buttons. CJ, please do me the honor. I if folks want to get to know you, if they want to hear more of your thoughts, if they want to hear more oldsters talk about games and games media, where can they get your content?
Well, I'm on Twitter as Superpac. That's SUPERPAC. I also tweet about Siege of the. I also tweet. Did I mention I'm old? Also tweet about Sea of Thieves on a different account because I wouldn't want to have people ignore me for tweeting so much about Sea of Thieves. But I have another Twitter account, Siege of Thieves. That's CEEJ of Thieves, where I post screenshots and little video clips from voyages and such. So you can follow that as well. I also host a podcast every week about games called the Player One Podcast with some of my friends, and they're also ex-gaming journalists as I am as well. And that's at playeronepodcast.com. That's where you can find that.
It's great content. I love listening to your guys' podcast. It's next to my normal morning routine of like listening to my podcast and thinking, my God, how do people actually like this? This is so horrible. And then I listen to your podcast and I'm like, oh, that's what I should be doing. I need to get more people on. I need to be talking about games that I grew up with and just give up this whole Sea of Thieves fanatic kind of mentality.
No. I need something to listen to that's just about Sea of Thieves. So you, Captain Logan, need to continue making this podcast. So I have something to listen to.
We're feeding our own issues. This is
that's right.
Well, that works out. I guess in the long run, that works out. So, CJ, thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that you were able to jump on and help me out on a week where I did not anticipate such an awesome drop for Sea of Thieves on the same friggin' day that Cyberpunk hit, where I was going to have to do so much work for 2 podcasts. But it's your help has been so welcome, and I can't wait to have you back on the show in future episodes when we can get a chance to talk more about other things in the gaming industry as well, because I keep wanting to talk to you about all the Game Awards stuff as well as Cyberpunk and all this other junk.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate having a place to talk about Sea of Thieves, since I really don't talk about it very much on my own podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And Pirates, that's going to do it. If you guys want to get a hold of CJ or myself, check the show notes. I will have links to all of his content and mine as well. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you. I love you. And I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Looking for an RPG podcast that isn't just D&D? Roll to Cast is the answer.
No, wait, sorry. What games have we played so far?
Well, we've done Cyberpunk 2020.
What does it mean to have a voice?
And there's going to be something big coming, Chumba.
Hey, if you're listening, I won. I beat you. You suck.
There was a time when we were slamming things against our phones and
Vampire the Masquerade.
Chloe, Sam?
You can't use those words!
He's going to grab Vincent, press him against the wall.
I mesmerize him. This is Adelaide's Anarch move. Burst out of your chair. Your hand goes to your gun and you draw.
Hulk Cthulhu.
Told you I had it. I've all got the creeps going. I love it so much.
Screechy child. You're my favorite daughter.
Maybe after what we just seen, we're feeling a bit trigger happy.
And the new Cyberpunk Red. Babe, you're good. But better.
Thought maybe you might be able to give me a counter offer.
Dos Vidania.
Straight through his neck.
I don't see bone either, but I'm not gonna look. My leg's fine.
I always knew you wanted to fly, kid. Come find me.
Roll to Cast. ROLE.
A new game every season.
Original music.
Original stories. Interviews with the creators.
And delightful Aussie accents.
Listen to us on all good podcatchers.
You can support us on Patreon for bonus content. That's Roll to Cast.
ROLE.
Come discover a new world.
Hey there, my name's Jameson, or Big Cat.
And I am Brenna, or Mother Goose.
And together, we are the hosts of the DL, Weekly Gaming News.
Each week, we bring you the top stories from last week, as well as something you might have missed.
Our goal is to start a conversation about what's going on in the world of gaming.
And every week, we have a special guest join us in the chat room, where we discuss a different gaming-related topic and learn more about our guests in the 60-second download.
And if that isn't enough, we also have Slim Jims.
So come and hang out with us every week and join in on the conversation.
Good luck and have fun, everybody.
And remember, keep your goose loose.